the voice of the people.
Justice for all deceased victims of political
I'm from the man.
Hello, viewers. You're welcome again to Impact Plus, and it's my pleasure to host you again tonight. My name is Nonso Chukwunosemikepo is my name, and this is Impact Plus. Tonight,
Edo Assembly to serve Showbiz's impeachment notice by substitution. And also to federal government, let salaries wages be commensurate with cost of living. Tinubu has performed very well, says Buhari. And one killed as gunmen invade a Bonny local government chairman's hotel. Commenters lament as one chance robbery invade Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Tonight on Impact Plus.
all right, we're back again. Thank you very much. I have with me tonight my usual guests, gentlemen who I will say not only know their onions, but they also know their beans. You're welcome, gentlemen. I have with me tonight, let me start with the face you saw last week, which is Olubenga George, a human rights activist, journalist, and of course, and then based in Abuja, Nigeria. We have a constitutional lawyer, someone who is a silent mover, who wins case without going to the press to announce it. I'm talking about Barrister Isaac Obi. He is a Lagos-based constitutional lawyer. Sir, you're welcome, please.
Thank you.
All right. We're waiting for Chris McCool. He is actually trying to settle down somewhere. He had some tough time. George, you can testify to that, but today will be a different. He has assured me today will be different, so that he can make meaningful contribution to the whole episode. Tonight we'll be talking about so many things, but the most current one now, which I believe that came in after we've dropped the topics to you guys, and I believe you're all aware, is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is in Niger State, and he tells the world that he will take down the terrorists, he will take down the militants, he will take down the herdsmen who are killing people and kidnapping people, the terrorists among them, if only he's given access to so many things. But he has all the power. He's the president of the most populous black nation on earth. So he's asking the world to support, and I don't know what you guys talk about it, because the thing is the prelude to what we discussed last week. The former the presidential candidate of Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, stated that that Nigeria has no reason being poor, and in that gathering was the governor of Niger State, and he concurred. He went ahead to call Peter Obi his boss. Of course, we all know what transpired later after that. And then today, our president is in Niger State. He is saying that he has concurred that Nigeria has no reason to be poor when it comes to food, that we can feed ourselves and feed Africa. What's your take on that, please, before we go to our main issues? Benga.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here again. I think I couldn't agree more with that statement that Nigeria can feed itself, and that if the necessary work is being put in place, undoubtedly Nigerians will not be hungry. Well, I think at the moment, what we are experiencing is not lack of food or any of these resources. It is just the ability to effectively manage them for the use and the greater good of every Nigerian. That is where we have judicious allocation of our resources, both material, financial, and all of that. And having the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu steer the ship of this country at this moment, one would expect no less. Well, coming into power, he came on a trajectory of a track record, which is developing the state, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, which is Lagos State, setting the tone, for that development that has continued uninterrupted for the past 24 years and running now. So I also do not have a doubt about his ability and capability to actually change the fortune of this country for good. What I find, a bit disturbing, however, is how he will be able to confront and surmount all the challenges that have bedeviled his predecessors and maybe distracted them or deterred them from fulfilling some of their Joseph promises. If you go back from 1999, well, I used to say that 99 to 2003 was the dark days in Nigeria's democracy, where people practically knew nothing. I'm almost going to say that when it comes to the populace, they didn't even know what to expect from a democratic government. Why do I say this? It's been 30-something years, of military rule, with a few interruption of democracy between 1979 and 1984 before former President Buhari also, kicked that administration away. So Nigeria had become used to the military system of government, even though it was not convenient. But we're used to receiving laws and edicts and orders, from the military administrations. And then President Obasanjo came in 1999. So one would have thought that, well, democracy, but people didn't really know what to expect. They didn't know how to participate and all of that. But from 2004 upwards, 2004 election, Nigerians began to participate and understand that they could actually run for offices. They knew their place and began to understand democracy. But you will agree with me that all through this time, where Nigeria experienced its bearish and its bullish state, in terms of economic development, not much has been achieved in terms of stabilizing the Nigerian economy. Not much has been achieved in terms of bringing development to the state. And we have now grown, in the political language, of making juicy promises to the Nigerian people in a bid to win elections every 4 years in this country. So speaking to whether President Tinubu will be able to walk the talk and, stabilize Nigeria and arrest the issue of hunger that has dominated the land. Like I said before, I think it's really about interest. It's really about the political will to do this. And we can only wait and see. I belong to the political class or to the social class that agree that it is quite too early to judge. I know that you have to, if a policy is going to be effective, you have to plan it and you have to implement it. And if you adopt the smart model, you would realize that it takes time. T, ends the smart model there. And that represents time. So where we have looked at it, if it is measurable, if it is achievable, all of that, you also still have to apply the T, which is time there. So we are 9 months into the administration. We look forward to more. There were challenges before he came to power. There are decisions that the Nigerian people expected that he implements immediately. But I think for somebody who is studying, and everyone also have their own style of leadership, and maybe after June 2024, maybe after May 29, 2024, I personally can begin to churn out an authoritative opinion about the administration of President
Benga, so I will hold you on that. I will hold you on that because I don't know you to be an apologist of any government, not to talk of the Tinubu regime, but so far
Definitely
so
not.
good. You've sounded as if you're trying to buy time for him. You are telling us to wait until 2020.
We are in, we are in 2024 already.
We're 2024 already. So
Yeah.
I'll hold you on that. By the end of the month, by the end of the year, we'll come back to know how it's going. I'm believing that the country should be moving forward, and then he campaigned on the fact that he and his running mate has control or well-grounded knowledge about security of this great nation, and of course our agricultural potential and other potential the country has.
But
We will
nobody
come
can
back.
boast of that. Even Buhari, that was a military
Sorry,
general, could
yeah,
not.
we can no, we can both we can come back to that later.
Okay.
I know I can see Chris is coming in, but Chris, before you say what, just say, before you contribute, just say hello to our viewers. Chris McCool is here, please. Chris.
Yeah, good evening, Nonso. Good evening, viewers. And I'm happy to be here once again. I apologize for stepping in a little late, just rushing into a meeting.
Chris, you're sounding very good today. It's crispy and clear.
It's not easy to hear in Anambra. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris. Chris, I said you are sounding clear today.
I'm in Oka, perhaps that's why.
Oh, now you see what I mean. If network cannot come to you, go to network. you go to network. So Chris has left his home country, Ozobru, or maybe near Newi where he was last time, to go to the capital city of Anambra State to get network. And I think the governor of Anambra State, His Excellency, Governor Charles Soludo, is what is going to watch, and they will see how he can help us so that we can get better network service. Chris, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Barrister, please, let's start with you. Constitutionally, we've passed through a lot of level of democratic government, and one of our key problem here has always been security. Now, I'm going to marry this question with one of the things we have in our topic, in our topic today to discuss. Our president went to Niger State, and he's reiterating the fact that he can and will solve this terrorism. What's it called? Encroachment of Nigerian land and sea and whatever. And then, if given some time, or whatever the time will be, and other government before him, other Buhari said same thing. To some extent, Jonathan did say same thing, and now we are here hearing the same thing. People are hungry. Schools are being invaded. As we speak now, 200 kids from Kaduna State are in the dungeon of the terrorists, and the president is still talking about time. And I think they've released them demands as well. They've asked for land. They've asked for what's it called? Bikes, and they've also asked for some Hilux vehicles. What power does the Nigerian president have? He's the chief executive of this country. What does the current president have the political will to do is deal decisively with terrorists, especially these little what's it called, headsmen and what have you?
Thank you so much, Nonso. It's quite an interesting topic this evening. The problem we have had so far in this country is that people who are not ready for governance have always been the people coming to power. For reasons of political calculations, power has always gone to people who are not prepared. I disagree with Gbenga in his earlier submission that he cannot assess this government until May 2024. If we look back into the antecedents of the president, We remember the famous Emiloko slang. We remember the claim that this has been his life ambition. And the question that really comes to mind is that somebody who is laying claim to this manner or this type of statements would have previewed circumstances. He has been in the politics of Nigeria right from the Nadeko days. There is nothing about this country which the current president should find difficult to resolve if he is sincere to himself. We all know about the Nadeko days. We know about the role he played. At a point, he went on exile. Since 2019, his government has been in power. 4 years before 2019, the government which he played a vital role in. We all know the role he played in bringing Buhari to power. We knew the government, the role he played, even in appointing key positions, people to key positions in Buhari's government. From the vice president to whosoever, every position that matters, Tinubu had a role in putting people there. And he has said it has been his life ambition. Life ambition to do what? To solve the problem of this country. And so it is anticipated that even his very first statement while being inaugurated, that fuel subsidy is gone. It was expected that that statement came from somebody who had prepared for governance even before he came to power. That statement presumed that he already knew the position, things that were on ground, the security challenges, the economic challenges, whatever challenges that face this country. As at 29th of May 2023, when he was being inaugurated, for him to say that fuel subsidy was gone, as early as his first day, he has not stepped into office. That is a statement of somebody who was presumed to have known the challenges ahead. And so, to say that we have to wait for 1 year, it is 10 months now. And we don't seem to see anything positive. I must be frank. There's no point trying to embellish anything. Governance is difficult, but people should be ready for that. For a party that has been in power for the past 8 years to come today and be telling us about challenges that they're asking for the permission of Nigerians to solve, I do not understand. So that statement in Niger State is typical of Nigerian statements, Nigerian politician statements. I don't take them I take them with a pinch of salt. The president has been mounting the fact that he knows how hungry we are in this country. What has he done? What has he done?
Well, sorry to cut you. To kind of be candid with you, he rounded up by in his own calculation, he still reiterated the fact that people should stop, henceforth, going forward, people should stop blaming government of the past. The past government, his party, they should not, the PDP, all of them that has passed. So we should forget about the past and forge ahead. And if he has said, let's forge ahead, this is the 10th month, and Benga says by end of May, he will draw his dossier on the present government. What are we looking out for? Let us forge ahead. Let us believe him that he's been to Niger State. And Niger State government, as governor, has done a lot, putting up equipment and all that. Let's see. Don't twist believe. Don't watch yourself believe him. They say you take them for a pinch of salt. Take their statement with pinch of salt. Last week, Chris said my pessimist is there. view it's too much. Well, I would say that can't we just for now give him that avoidance of doubt, give his regime that avoidance of doubt to see if he can look again and bring that template that he has that made him to say, look, he's so desirous to rule Nigeria. It's his ambition to rule Nigeria. That's why I'm asking, what power does an average Nigerian president have that will make him not to achieve what he wants to achieve? What power does he need other than the one that is in the Constitution?
Everything, the Constitution has given him everything he needs. In fact, his primary responsibility is protection of lives and property. It is a constitutional imperative. There is no other responsibility he has. In fact, even economic responsibility come after the responsibility of protecting lives and property. There have been cries for state of emergency to be declared in several areas, particularly in areas concerning security. Have we seen those things? So it is a matter of political will to embark on this and achieve all these and put all these security issues to rest. We have expected, for instance, by now, that a primary step towards solving the security problem would have been massive recruitment in our security architecture. We have expected that by now, the number of our security guards that are guiding personal individuals. These are areas I thought the government, the low-hanging fruits, which I think the government would have started with, to free even the little number of personnel that we have on ground and deploy them to the right places. But we are not seeing that. It has been the status quo. People who have no relevance at all to having security men around them are having as many as they want, even today. So part of the challenges we have is that these security personnel, the available ones who are available to be mobilized for solving these security problems, are overwhelmed. Part of the, I recall part of the promises that President made during his campaign was the idea of recruiting more hands into the security network, so that we have many people. But we've not seen that. It is still taking so long. This security issues demand immediate whatever that it would have been tackled to get this issue solved should have been done.
Okay.
It has become a daily thing that every morning you wake up every morning to hear hundreds of children being kidnapped, people being kidnapped. We thought that even with the change of button, there would have been a difference, but there seem not to be any.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Barrister. We'll come back to you later. Chris McCool, I want you to look at when you told me this evening that you are heading to Oka. I tried to visualize the road network between Oka and Enugu, and then all that. We're talking about security, food, and we're also looking at life as well. Chris, there's been in one of our headline there. You had when the reporter said something that the express road, Lagos Ibadan express road, has been the kidnap incident that happened there is not just only on that. There was someone somewhere I think it's somewhere in Kogi State. There was something like that as well. There were the one that happened between Ofka and Enugu, which led to what I'm hearing. If it's true, you let me know that the transport owners have said that they will not ply that route anymore because of insecurity. Passengers were kidnapped, drivers were shot, and left. The video is viral where you see a little kid who was left alone. Now, insecurity It's not just only to South, it's everywhere now in Nigeria. Insecurity. If the president is saying that he should be given some time to do this, Chris, don't you think that we should give him that time? If not, what are the measures that could be done to draw his attention more to do that? It's not just food, because you can't go to farm when you know that somebody's waiting for you. I saw a video. Sorry, I'm relating almost so much. I saw a video where the Nigerian police officer, the Mopo, I think they apprehended some travelers who are purportedly exporting red oil, what's it called, palm oil. And as they are opening the oil, what was coming out from the gallon was bullets, live bullets. So it's gotten so sophisticated that people just deliberately plan to go and unsettle a particular community, a particular region, so that they will make a statement. Chris, what is your view? You made the trip. Hello, Chris, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can
we
you
can hear you, sir. Yeah.
Okay. In between, you were still cutting. The network has improved, but it's not completely what I thought it would be here in Oka. But I look forward to it being better than it was the other day. And now, having said that, I'll react to most of the things I had. First, the incident at Enugu didn't actually happen between Enugu and Oka. If it is the one in which a man was shot in a Corolla car, which his children and the wife were kidnapped and taken into the bush. It happened somewhere in Enugu State. Actually, it was between Udi and Egede. That's where it happened. And sorry, as sad as it is, that is not to say that there is any part of the southeast now that is completely free from insecurity. No, security breaches happen every now and then. Just about a week plus ago, there was a security breach somewhere in Obaru, while a former House of Reps member was trying to bury his father or bidding his father a final bye. So insecurity is actually everywhere. And it's such a sad story because one would have thought that 9-10 months down the line or thereabout, that the new administration would have done something different. I agree with Barrister to some extent when he said he disagrees with Benga. I am one of those who believe that a government must be giving what I call a gestation period in order to be able to evaluate that government fairly. But then to be giving that leverage, there needs to be some encouraging footsteps or signposts on the ground. And I think that's where Barrister is driving at. In the instant case under the present administration, we have not seen much to elicit that hope that would have allowed one to say, okay, I'll still be patient with this administration. That is not to say that you can't be patient. After all, we have no other option than to remain patient and prayerful for the administration. But to a great extent, it needs to be said that I personally am disappointed, and I'm sure that a lot of Nigerians are disappointed. And this disappointment stems from the background that the barrister had already laid. There's a difference when a neophyte, comes into power. Maybe a neophyte, a popular neophyte, goes into an election, wins the election, and comes to power. You could excuse certain things because that person would have to lend the ropes. We're talking about a governor, a president who had been governor of an arid state like Lagos State. We're talking about a president who has had all the experience in politics. We're talking about the Jagaban of Lagos politics and now, to some extent, Nigerian politics. Yes, and he Barrister made a point when he emphasized the Emilokon factor, because the Emilokon, theme, elicits, a feeling about somebody who is ready, somebody who has prepared for the job, somebody who will, hit the ground running, somebody who has done his homework. And why not? like he also said, it was a transition from an APC government to another APC government. And not just that, a transition to a president who obviously and evidently played very key roles in the life of the immediate past administration. In other words, he worked in cahoots with the immediate past administration. What this suggests is that if things are really what it should be, we would have seen a lot of changes in the sense that being an inner caucus member of that administration and, having predicated his campaign on the Emiloko theme, it would mean that from the sideways, he was watching and seeing what the immediate past president wasn't doing right. And the expectation is that if he comes in, we will see those things. I made the point last week that there are some quick actions that Nigerians expected that they didn't see. And I think it is part of where we are right now. What are those actions? I made the point that if you look at the president's appointment, it was like more or less, job for the boys. It was more or less compensating people for the roles they played in the election and not really a matter of competence. Who is competent to do the job? And I made the point that I know that the president that I know, I used to know as Lagos State governor, knew exactly better people who can do this job. That is what I feel. And I'm very, very hard put about it because it's something that he has demonstrated in the past. So I see no reason why it shouldn't have been demonstrated if the political will is there. So what we are seeing, to me, is the lack of political will to do what is right. I do not believe, I said
Here they come again.
the wave of insecurity we have across the nation. No, yes, we've seen some of these abandoningly equipped they are. We've seen some of these kidnappers when they are caught. There's nothing extraordinary. Take, for example, what is happening here in the Southeast. The biggest, arsenal that you can find in the custody of the house a shared gun. Jet fighters, they don't have anything. They don't even have drones. But the government has all this. So I am at a loss why we should be,
where we are.
Why this merry-go-round where every government can hold an event. However, is that they should hasten everything about this state police. Because the argument has been that if you bring a man from Zamfara to combat crime in my own Anambra, and he gets to a place like Osumo, and whatever you call them, UGM. So that I'm one of those who had fears that governors will abuse it. And I still have that fears. But the point is that we have a situation, at hand now that you have to choose between two evils. And for me, the
lesser evils. For you, the lesser evil is allow the governors to have their way.
The lesser evil is the police during elections. Police will now, help us make a headway in the fight against criminality across the country. Because at the end of the day, I want to believe that there's an advantage to a scenario where.
Okay.
The man who is fighting the criminals knows that the one is coming out of where some two persons were caught and they were being interviewed. Both of them happens to be from Enugu, but they were imported there and they were part of the criminal gangs that were smoked out.
Okay. Okay, Chris, if you could
last week. If you're listening to they said that what they did south, or someone who is in another local government, he had a local government area. So they know that once they go after these boys, that other route is where they will go. So what did they do? They first went and made sure that they blocked the other side. And then when they now went after the boys, true to their predictions, the boys wanted to cross over and they captured them. So this is something that only somebody who knows the terrain can do. It's not something that you bring a man from Kauran and Moda and ask him to come and do. So, but for me, I think enough of the excuses, enough of the assurances. What Nigerians want to see now is action. We want to see a reduction. I personally believe that it's a thing of shame to think that bandits, kidnappers, criminals, or whatever names they go by, will be, stretching out both to what is proper. Government knows how to tackle these issues, and these issues it can tackle. I think it is the political will that is still lacking.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. And political will, having the constitutional power to execute a states, a safe nation, is what the people are asking for. Interestingly, the immediate past president also paid a visit and told us that he's doing well, and he must have assessed him to know, because they say he who wears the shoe knows how where it pinches, So that said and done, we'll come back to where we are and that part of our topic today, which is on Edo State. Edo State is boiling as we speak. Yes, it's beginning to come out little by little. Constitutionally, they're moving faster to impeach the governor. I mean, the deputy governor, please. But the deputy governor. And we've seen some of these games before in so many parts of Nigeria, whereby the deputy governor gets a wings and wants to fly and all that, and then the boss says, no, we have this and I can control you, you can't do this and all that. Now, impeachment is in progress. They are also, I don't know, there's a particular legal term that they use, that they say they will use to expedite it, even if he's not there. Barrister, what can you say about what can you say about what is brewing in Edo State? The failure of the House of Assembly member to realize the fact that there are due process to be followed to impeach a governor. What can you say about that? While you're also thinking about that, something came into my notice while I was preparing for this show, and that's the video of the national senators in the National House of Assembly arguing about budget padding. And I will come to you, Benga, on that, and also Sir Chris, I will come to you back on that, on the part that there's an allegation of 500 million naira being padded into the current budget by the current House of Assembly or senators, by some of the senior senators and the junior members and all that. It's brewing already. So we'll come to that. But Barrister, please, Edo State, the impeachment of Philip, is it justified? Are they following the laws?
Thank you very much. What is happening in Edo State is quite heartbreaking. But I must say that the foundation for this have been laid long time ago in a number of antecedents. Part of the problem that has made this democracy stunting in its growth is the unwillingness of politicians to play by the rules. Not too long ago, we know what happened in Rivers State, of how the House of Assembly was burnt, and how members of the House of Assembly, there was mass resignation.
Mm.
People who were loyal to a particular man held the governor by the jugular and made it very difficult for him to govern. At a point, the governor was more or less forced to bring them back. And so it is impunity. They say what comes around goes around. If it has happened in Rivers State, who said it can't happen in any other states? Without severe consequences for people who go contrary to the Constitution. This is what we continue to see. The problem with, and that's part of the things we are looking at, whether the position of the deputy governor could be made more substantial than what it is today.
Mm.
Some of us have been asking, what really is the essence of having a deputy governor, if what it is what it is today?
Mm.
A position that is merely redundant, and it is full of contradictions.
Mm.
If the governor is taking any constitutional step, for instance, in electoral matters, if any constitutional position is taken without the attachment of the position of the deputy governor to that position, the governor's position is under threat.
Mm.
For the governor to constitutionally maintain his position, he needs that position of the deputy governor to validate whatever he's doing when it comes to electoral matters. But once the election is over, the deputy governor becomes very irrelevant.
Mm.
Very, very irrelevant. He becomes a houseboy to the governor. Philip Schweib had quite a very unpleasant time with Obaseki. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of their disagreement. But my position is, why should the fate of the deputy governor be determined by the governor? Even to the point of electoral fortunes. Why should it be the deputy governor that will determine, or rather, why should it be the governor that will determine whether the deputy governor's political fortune is bright or not? I said that shouldn't be. And so I look forward to a day where our constitution should be amended to the extent that the deputy governor should stand almost at a very strategic position, that he shouldn't be a push around by the governor. The only person we saw that did it at the national level was Obasanjo and Atiku. But since then, it has been people. I say no. It does not make sense that the deputy governors should be treated the way they are treated. Whatever is happening in those states is very unfortunate. The impeachment procedure, because these people in the at the House of Assembly, members of the House of Assembly, have no independent mindset. They allow themselves to be used at every point in time to achieve inordinate goals. And so that is the misfortune that is going on. But I'm saying it's something that has happened repeatedly. And because it has happened and people who masterminded it got scot-free, other states will continue to do it. You see? So impunity, disregard for the rule of law and order is the very thing behind all these things we are doing. Well, or rather, we are seeing in our polity. And so we look forward to the day, the constitutional amendment that they are touting. But another provision is that, another problem is that those who are touting this constitutional amendment are also the people who will not let it go the full breadth. Because any area of it that will run against them in future, they will make sure that it doesn't go through. So And that's why people are crying that when we want it, if we must have a new, it shouldn't be a constitutional amendment, but a brand new constitution, where it should be the mind of the people. It must be the people that will put the constitution that will make this country work in place. Otherwise, if it is left for these politicians, they will once again go and make sure they tailor it the way it can face them in future, so that they will continue to remain relevant. So that has been the issue in Edo State.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Barrister. It's like this so old saying that he who pays the piper dictates the tune, because that's what is happening. That's what is happening. The governor of Edo State, Obaseki, to my surprise, a corporate, someone coming from the corporate world who understand what is called due diligence, things being done right, is playing these cards, and of course the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly is falling, falling over it, and they want to do everything to make sure that they just want to clip that young man's wing, kill him politically and all that. But let's see how it pans out. Let's see how it pans out as the case as we watch on, because I've taken time to look at. I try to picture all the governors when they were running, how their deputies were very, very vital to their campaign. They strategically choose their deputy. Chris, when you come in, you remind me of the current deputy governor of Anambra State, whom I've not seen for a long time. I can't even remember. I can't even remember seeing him lift up a sand and saying he's inspecting or cleaning a book. It's like the guy went back to the hospital practicing his medical profession. But then you just keep quiet, collect your salary, do this and that, and then we'll move on. Is that how we're going to go? These are questions for another day. Should we have another constitution? It definitely will not come from the decks of those people in the State's House of Assembly. It can't even come from those who are in the National House of Assembly. Something has to happen for Nigeria to have a 360 turnaround that will emanate towards having a people gazetted constitution. That said, I'm done. Let's hear Olu, please. Before you come in, viewers, this is still Impact Plus, and my name is Nonsochku Nosemekekwe, and you're watching. I have with me tonight my guests. Of course, I have Olubenga George, an Abuja-based journalist, human rights activist, journalist. And of course, I have a constitutional lawyer based in Lagos, Barrister Isaac Obi. And of course, Mr. Chris Maku is a public relation expert and a politician. Yes, I would say that a politician is a pivotal member of the original ABGA. When I say the original ABGA, he is, and I think he's back again to that fold. Chris Maku is here joining me. Gentlemen, once again, you're welcome to Impact Plus. This is our second edition, and I think we're doing good. I've gotten some, even though I've gotten some commendation, and we can do better. George, let's hear you.
All right. Thank you once again for the opportunity. I think I'll take it up from where the barrister just stopped. And I want to say that I totally support many of the points he raised, especially where the handling of the role of deputy governor is concerned in Nigeria. It is very sad for me, to have such a situation where the constitutional provision for separation of powers, is just a paper thing. It's not practicable in the country. The state, our entire state assembly, are getting involved in a rift that is existing between the governor and his deputy. For me, is quite despicable. It shouldn't. It isn't something that is actually worth even discussing. It's shameful as far as I'm concerned, because why the governor feels that his deputy does not deserve to become his successor, for me, is still a very serious issue to address. Because for me, it is a move by the governor to deny or deprive his deputy of his constitutional right. I thought the that democracy gave the people the right to decide who leads them and not the political leader. But what we have in Nigeria right now is a situation where the political leader is actually the determinant of practically everything going on in society. And it is wrong. Government, the democratic government is for the people. It's not, is meant to, it is what the people want that should be done, that should prevail over what a few majority, few minority do desire. They say in the democracy, it says the majority will have their way, but the minority will have a say. So that's democracy. So they're just supposed to have a say, but what determines where people go is that the larger number of people actually support a cause. So for what the governor is doing and now being co-joined by the House of Assembly, for me, it's totally illegal. And this should be questioned. I mean, it has become normal, in our political space, but the fact that it has become normal does not make it right. It is totally wrong. In my opinion, it is condemnable because we've had similar scenarios. You go to Kogi State recently, you saw that it is the will of the governor, of the former governor that prevailed. You go to several other states, you realize that the governors who are leaving want to bring up a successor. And the question I asked, just a few hours ago, I was on another show where I was talking, and I was like, what do these people really have to hide? If you have done well, I think you should be proud enough to say, well, I'm leaving this place. I have grown above this office, and I'm willing to allow other people to also have opportunity to try. And let's see who, it should not be a competition. Let's see who is more creative. Okay, if my deputy feels you can do better than me, then bring it on. But because they have not even done anything, they don't even want any other ideas to come. They just want to continue to perpetuate themselves indirectly in office, and we now have this thing called the political recycling in Nigeria. So they recycle their cronies, they recycle their children, they recycle their wives, they recycle their family members. And it is totally wrong. I think the solution is still rest with the Nigerian people. I think we said it in the last episode of this conversation that the Nigerian people are too docile. They're too docile. The Edo State scenario, like every other one, is very sad. The political parties also have a role to play in all of this. Why does the governor have to be the person to determine who succeeds him? It is wrong, in my opinion. If, in fact, I actually succumbed to an idea I think I read about some time ago that says that for if continuity, a governor or a president should actually elect his running mate or choose a running mate who can actually succeed him, so that he can continue with his developmental projects. But because in this side of the world, most leaders do not come to make any meaningful impact that is worth building upon, so they just choose somebody that will be a vegetable, that will not be able to challenge them, that will not be able to say anything, so that these people can follow them and do whatever, and they can do whatever they want and have their way. The deputy governor, should be able to highlight some of the things that his boss is doing wrong. The same way the state assembly should be totally independent. They are supposed to be checkmating each other, not supporting each other, so to speak. The state assembly, the reason why we don't even have development in Nigeria right now is because there is no separation of powers. The executive is the high lord and master of everything, and whatever he says stands, because they control the judiciary. Even though the judiciary is supposed to be independent, they control the legislative, even though the legislature is supposed to be independent. So how do we have development? So the Nigerian people need to now start focusing on true separation of power, which is a key element, in a democratic government.
Okay. Thank you very much. Chris Marco, what's your view on this so that we can start planning to wind up? What's your view on this, Chris?
Well, my view is very simple on this. We have a dysfunctional system in Nigeria, be it in the political party setup, be it in the executive arm, legislature relationship, and all that. Everything is dysfunctional, and it is the result that we are seeing. Like Wenger said, if you get to the federal level, the executive is everything. It lords it over the National Assembly and the judiciary, when it shouldn't be so, because you could even say for certain that the most powerful organ amongst the three at any level is the legislature. But I tell you what is happening, particularly at the state level, and no state is, free from this. A governor funds the campaign of most of the state assembly aspirants. And so when they win, naturally, the allegiance is already there. And how do I mean? As in politics, because our duty is to tell the world the truth and not to conceal what the world should know, so that we would, begin to appreciate from where we can improve. The fact of the matter is that in most states, where either running for re-election or running for election during off-season election, the election day budget, which is in the pool, is often financed by states. This is an open secret. They will not admit it, that this is state money.
I'm aware.
But it is financed by states. And that's why if you're against an incumbent, you're disadvantaged already, whether you like it or not, because you cannot be richer than the states. Even for states that have obviously not done well, you see the governors, they don't play with election budgets. So that a particular governor is not doing well and has a second term chance will not prevent him from stacking, cash for the election. And they find the what do you call it, the security vote handy in this direction, because the law does not even require them to account in details for the security votes. And the governor appropriates to himself whatever he wishes as security votes, and the state assembly will just concur, because if you don't, you also will be, stifled. So these are the issues, and until we're able to, solve these fundamental issues, we won't make progress. That's what we'll be seeing. Barrister talked about it. Even amending the constitution, to amend the constitution, even if you ever tag along hallowed chambers of the state houses of assembly, and because they work in cahoot with the governors, I can tell you that at that point and at that level, they were down. So kind of called the sack, because you just start in practical politics. It's a very, very, painful situation for people who are truly progressive at heart, because you're looking for a solution and you're not seeing light at the end of the tunnel, because the only reason you are now hoping that this issue of state police will go through is because of the spate of insecurity that is threatening to consume the entire country. No state is free at the moment. So the governors would have no choice than to ask. In fact, they wanted it all along. So this one, you will see, it will just be passed speedily, because the governors are for it. But if you want local government autonomy tomorrow, it will not serve. The same houses of assembly will knock them down, because it is not in the interest of most governors to have the local government, autonomy in place. When people make so much noise about local government elections, I ask myself, I'm sorry, I'm digressing, but these are to show you the fundamentals of the issues we're facing. People make so much noise about local government elections. As a politician, where is the clear difference between states that are administered through transition committees and states that have had their local government election. It is the same. Under any of the two, scenarios, they are controlled by the various states' ministry of local government and, in most cases, chieftaincy matters and all that. I used to know. I can tell you for free that even in my state here, in the life of the administration, immediate past administration, when there was elected local government chairman from 2013, I think 2016, they were in. They were supposed to do, their tenure was reduced by 2 years by the same state assembly from the 3 years it used to be. But they ended up spending about 3 years because when their tenure expired, they were retained as TC chairman. But I can tell you that even as at that point, they cannot buy a tire for the local government vehicle without approval from the Ministry of Local Governments. So you begin to ask yourself, where's the difference? And in their own case, it's worse because they spent money campaigning. They spent money to get into office. But as TC chairman, you're appointed. You don't spend money. So after spending money, you now find out that there's just, a thin line between your status as an elected local government chairman and a transition committee chairman. So these things, it's not just with the deputy governor thing. So we will continue to see that until the issue of this internal democracy in our last conversation is solved. Because it is lack of internal democracy and, the penchant by sitting governors, to make sure that they anoint a successor that is at the heart of all these disagreements. And for Edo State in particular, when you move back, what Philip Shuaibu went through during the 20 days of the Obaseki administration,
yes.
How he stood with him, dished his kinsman Oshomole, and sacrificed virtually everything. It bleeds the heart that this could be happening too, because it shouldn't really end this way. But then, what can you do? It is the system that is at the heart of the matter. And until we get the system right, it will be a difficult problem to solve. Unfortunately, I do not see how that system could be.
With the
Nigerians tend to caliber of political leaders and put them in political positions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris Mako. Also, the thing is this: the system is already compromised. That's the word I want to use. Let's be a bit mild now about that. And that reminds me on my subtle point that I introduced in between, where I said that there's been padding in the National Assembly, national budget, and senior senators are reportedly on national television quoted and accused of padding 500 million naira for each person. Each of those senior senators. Of course, the other senators are now, nobody knows what is happening in the House of Assembly. Now, I remember very well, and funny enough, when this was brought in, the next thing they did, they switch off the mic of the person that was speaking. And switching off that mic means that everybody they are all in connivance with this whole scheme. Nigeria has become, yes, we all know they are milking us, but nobody. That system we're asking that should be changed. Nobody has ever said why or how we can change our system, because the current democratic setting is what Fela will call party government, and nobody will question anybody because everybody invested his or her own little coins to help you to get to where you are. So you can't stand here and say I should not take from here. And that's what we are witnessing now. Back to what I'm trying to say is that the last time this budget padding was introduced, the former president Buhari made it bold enough to bring back the proposal and look at it and make some tinkering and all that and all that. Do you see this current government having the political will to do same? To realize that it has been exposed that is padding. Can we look at this budget again before approving it? let's Barrister, please. I'd like you to have share because this is more or less related to law of the land.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much once again. It was an interesting afternoon watching proceedings at the National Assembly. What appears to have happened, Senator Ningi made a clear revelation. His revelation was simple, that the budget which is being implemented by the executive is in excess of what was approved by about 3 trillion.
Mm.
Before today, the social media has carried it all over because it happened in an interview he granted to, I think, BBC or so. But we saw, if you're familiar with the Nigerian politics, you will see that what happened in the Senate today was clearly a script. You will see that there are times when microphones are switched off.
Oh, switched off, yeah, I saw it, I had it.
You will see that Senator Ningi, was emphatic. Some of them were expecting him to come today and be a bit apologetic. Attempts haven't been made to cow him or to make him to kind of withdraw what he has said. But because I believe that he knows what he was saying, what happened before the cameras today, having been old enough to understand politics in Nigeria, does not impress me. It doesn't matter what Aline Dume said, doesn't matter what Oshiomhole said, it doesn't matter what other people say. There is still more to meet the eye than what has happened. The explanation which has been given was that what was passed was about 27 trillion and not 27 and not 27 point something trillion and not 25 trillion.
Ooh.
And that a little adjustment was made to bring it up to 28 trillion. Now, what all this saga has brought up is how impunity keeps digging itself into the heart of our
it keeps building. Yeah.
In every aspect of this national life, of our national life, the National Assembly has continued to play a very, very dangerous role in the development of democracy in this country.
Yeah.
In fact, it appears that it is worse even under this 10th National Assembly. The way things are going, official doesn't follow any there's no precedence anymore. Things just happen the way they feel that it can happen. So we fold our hands. I am sure this is not the end of the day. Senator Ningi has been suspended for 3 months, down from 1 month, 12 months, which was proposed. They brought it down to 3 months. But I am sure we've not had the last of this. He may have gone away, but I know he has his fact. The arsenal he has will keep pushing him until we get to the next stage of this scandal. It is not yet over.
Thank you very much. I want you viewers at home, I want to assure you here that we here in 14 Plus, the exclusive owner of Impact Plus is digging deep, and we are trying to get behind the scene as well. We'll get to Abuja, we'll find some people to talk to, and we'll get you some exclusive. Benga, you are in Abuja. Abuja, Iluebe. you're, you're, you're in Abuja. Benga, what do you see? Because I know that when this thing was raised years back, Aden, no matter how much you can take, whatever you take for out of Buhari, you can't take off the fact that sometimes he made an effort to correct some certain ills. Nobody's talking about this part. Rather the person, the John the Baptist that made the announcement is being killed. Is about being scuffled. If this government is committed to what they say about fighting corruption, they shouldn't be taking this way. You shouldn't be suspecting a senator who is making a claim, who's making an allegation, not even an allegation, proving one as such, and then you're suspending. What are you telling the world? The current Senate president is very good at off the mic. So many occasions he has off the mic, and this one he's offing the mic again, and he's taking away the person. What do you have to say? Bearing in mind that 3 months ago, one of the ministers of this same government did some irregularity, carried some irregularity in terms of invoice and all that memos. And noise was made about those things. Today, what has become of that? Nothing. It's been swept under the carpet. She is quiet, and then we moved on just like that. And this one will go on, like Barza said, we might not have seen the last because it's coming from an outsider. Benga, what have you got to say? Hello, Mr. Benga, are you there? He's not around. I don't know if you join later. Chris. Hello, Chris.
Yes, I'm here.
You could relate to that. How can you relate to that in what is happening? Is it possible that this government will have political
everything
will?
Is about everything is about the deepening of the rot in the system. And I want to cast our mind back to a position Obasanjo took in the second day. Sorry, somebody tried to call me. A young platform. So I want to revert our minds to the position former President Obasanjo took sometime in the early days of his second tenure. When asked about certain things that people felt he ought to have been firmer on in his first tenure, he usually answer very humorously. He will say, that time, now put me. Now me put myself. I think what we are seeing playing out, be it at the presidency, be at the interministerial level, be it in the National Assembly or in the relationship between the executive and the National Assembly, what we are seeing playing out, the function of the fact that this government came to power, through the assistance of too many powerful political blocs, too many powerful political blocs. And beyond that, these blocs are not deterred or afraid a hoot, because even though the courts, in the court of public opinion, Nigerians do not believe that this government legitimately won the election. And if you take that into cognizance, if you cognize that, what it means, and we saw some terrible and embarrassing evidences during the court processes. For example, what we saw in Rivers, the kind of, mutilations, the kind of, alterations we saw in the Rivers presidential result, and even to a large extent, Lagos, which was lost by the APC too. So when you look at those things, it would appear that have been rewarded with positions in this government can spill just like Ningi tried to spill in the Senate. They have a lot of things they are clutching onto. They have a lot of useful information they can leak tomorrow if you try to emasculate them. So with that, at the back of one's mind, it becomes difficult to answer your question in the affirmative, because government can only move and, be seen to have the political will to do what it ought to do if it is a government that enjoys, substantial legitimacy. I use that word quite responsibly. What I mean, if you made a reference in our very first edition when you referenced Yar'Adua's, the late President Yar'Adua's, most respected admission about, the minuses of the elections that brought him to power. That is how that person behaves. Do you understand? First, you need to purge yourself of whatever hindrances that might be. Now, in the same manner, a lot of people do not believe that the last elections was free, fair, and transparent. So, even though the courts have said we have a president and we are almost now, answerable to the president, the truth of the matter is that the legitimacy question lingers, behind. And for me, what we are seeing is not about to end. I don't see this administration coming, coming out smoking, against any erring minister, any erring officer or whatever, because too many of them have, things to spill. And in such situation, government will need to be pragmatic. Government will need to be creative in handling those things. But then it is also, adding up to the minuses, like the better you do thing you referenced. People are asking questions. You don't just say you suspend a minister or you remove a minister. If there is an infringement, the lawyer knows better, barrister knows better on this, but if there's an infringement, it shouldn't stop at the punitive measure, shouldn't stop at just removal, dismissal, or suspension. It should be further investigated. And where people are culpable, the only way to send a message that this government is serious about reinventing Nigeria, because Nigeria needs serious. The only way the government can pass that message, government acts firmly. And acting firmly means that if there is need to prosecute anyone, let that person face the music. Need to dismiss someone for incapacity, let the person be dismissed. You must act. But we are seeing scenarios where perhaps roles that some people played in the election has made them sacred cows. And it is difficult for the government to move against them. That is the scenario. And that's why I said, I used the word cul-de-sac. We have found ourselves in a kind of cul-de-sac, and only God and Nigerians will help us get out of it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, viewers at home. It's been Impact Plus, and it's been a hotly debated or discussed issues, ranging from constitutional issues to governance to the people. What Impact Plus is all about is about talking and trying to see how we can change narrative and bring different breath of air or new breath of air to issues that have been discussed out there. We're also going to be using the opportunity to also celebrate people. Yes, very soon you'll be seeing people who have achieved, not necessarily politicians. There are Nigerians who are creating exploits out there. We'll bring them in here. What we ask is for you that you stay tuned to 14 Plus, and of course subscribe, share our content, and then support us to grow. We'd like to see you all guys next week. Thank you very much for watching 14 Plus, especially watching Impact Plus. My name remains Nonso Chukwunonsemekekwe. God bless.